The manga starts, and the very first thing that we see is our main protagonist in his inner feelings, and he cries on how love is actually a competition and love doesn't really begin unless you are chosen. He goes on about how, for his love, he had fought with every weapon imaginable. But when he had thought that he had won the competition and had won over the heart of his lover, he adds that he was not chosen at all. As our scene changes, we see that a friend of Yuzuki was comforting him and telling him how he finds it extremely obnoxious that Yuzuki was broken up with his girlfriend like this. A few hours ago, Yuzuki decided to go to his girlfriend's apartment, and when he opened the door, all he could really do was open his eyes wide. As he dropped the bag that he had, he sees in front of him that his so-called girlfriend was actually already in a rather uncomfortable position. As he caught her in the act, he just freezes. She started to remark on how he's a nuisance and, although she messaged him not to see her, Yuzuki still decided to be persistent and come to her now. Yuzuki, on the other hand, just completely stands there, hearing his partner say all of these things. As his heart started to tear into thousands of pieces, he cries, thinking maybe his head is not working. But the trash, on the other hand, who was with her in her bed, started to add on how Yuzuki must be that boyfriend that she was talking about. As both of them started to talk to each other, mocking him, Yuzuki's girlfriend made the best choice that she would like to break up. As he raised his voice, he asked what she was talking about. Immediately, with a cold voice, she tells Yuzuki that she's going to cherish the expensive bag that he had bought her. As he tears up, it turns out that Yuzuki saved up a lot of money just so he could buy his girlfriend a super expensive bag, but it all turned to ashes. As he tears up, he adds on how his girlfriend was so misled that she decided to choose a guy who was clearly a playboy type. As he tears up, he mocks himself that he's a loser and he gave her so many gifts, but in the end, he lost to a guy who was pathetic and more like a woman chaser. As his friend became angry, he smacks his hands on the table and he shouts on how Yuzuki has a heart of gold and he's not to blame. He shouts and he obviously states the facts on how he's a much better human than his trash girlfriend, and he began adding on how Yuzuki needs to get more angry. As they both started to talk, Yuzuki's friend really made sure that he created this environment in which Yuzuki could start blaming the other party for betraying his trust. As they were talking, from the side, the infamous reality show, Eden of Destiny, started to air. As it was a big announcement, their attention was grabbed. As he looked, both Yuzuki and his friend added on how this reality show is all about finding true love on a luxury cruise ship. Then they remarked on how the production and everything is top-notch, surrounded by dazzling settings and beautiful people. Yuzuki himself added on how it's extremely odd for him to look at this while his love life is declining. He lowers his head down and he was pretty much heartbroken, not having anything fun to do. But as his friend asked if he'd be interested in joining, a mascot announced that the Season 2 production has just confirmed that they're actively looking for participants who could be interested in falling in love with a new person. As both of them noticed this, the mascot announces that the winner who wins this event could walk away with a 100 million yen check. As both of them shout and panic, they quickly decided to tell each other that they might be able to join. As both of them were drunk, Yuzuki's friend shouted to him that he needs to do it since his love life is at rock bottom and he cannot go to university like this. As both of them decided to do it anyway, the application process was extremely hard. Since the mascot announced that they're looking for participants, there was an extremely high barrier of entry. Being tied to absolutely no pressure, Yuzuki decided to do it. Since he knew that he was not going to pass, he was miraculously accepted. As a message tells him to be in a place after a few days, they travel to the given destination. When they opened their eyes, they saw that they're in a bay area, and a big, expensive luxury yacht was waiting there for them. As both of their eyes glance inside, they see that the entire place was covered in golden and expensive-looking interior with statues resembling an Eden-type view. As Yuzuki noticed how it's pretty creepy, he started to remind himself that if he goes here, he might get trapped here, and if a yacht moves to the ocean, then he's basically away from land and he cannot go anywhere. As they were going in, Yuzuki's friend noticed that there was a base of the tree where they were supposed to submit their invitation. As both of them did it, the invitation quickly got sucked in, and one of the apples that the lady had opened, and 2 white envelopes were handed out. As both of them grabbed their own, Yuzuki ends up dropping his envelope. As he starts to look for it, from the side, a girl approaches and she steps on it like he's a rug or some sort. As he freaks out, the woman apologizes, and when he sees the absolutely breathtaking figure of that woman, for a minute he just glares at her dazzling personality and presence. He starts to stutter on how he doesn't really have a presence, and that's why a lot of people ignore him. As she agrees, she quietly walks away, saying nothing to him. Yuzuki, on the other hand, sadly suffered emotional damage because of her tone and word. Inside, both of them just looked at the extremely glorious, dazzling, and high-end setting that the production committee had. They looked around, and everywhere they saw was expensive, European textured marble and interior with butlers all around the place and expensive food ready to be served. As both of them looked around, what was more interesting was that almost everywhere they looked, there were men and women who were just beautiful. He cried on how this is it for him, and he cannot even think about finding his lost love here. But as he gets surprised from the back, someone calls him by his wrong name. As Yuzuki recognizes this trash, he calls out to him, and Yuzuki asks that trash in a loud tone why he is here of all places, and he asks if he had broken up with his former girlfriend or something. Yamamoto adds that he's here to look for new encounters. He answered that he was just with Yuzuki's ex for a one-night stand. He smiled and remarked that Yuzuki is not really going to understand that they had a fling of the moment and they just drowned in their own lust for a minute. As Yuzuki's eyes widen on what a horrible piece of trash he really is, his mind wasn't working and he cried on what he's talking about. As Yuzuki's friend brought in some expensive caviar, there was really no time, and a mascot-like figure enters and introduces everyone that it's time for them to start their event. The mascot introduces that all of them have documents that they're going to look into. Since everyone signed some other documents already before coming here, the mascot confirmed that all of the people here are of legal age and profession and are here to meet their lost loved one. The mascot quickly added that, unfortunately, their Season 2 cannot handle 1,000 people on a ship, so the mascot announced that they're going to play a game called heart-pounding matching. As everyone froze for a minute, they were pretty blown away that the games were starting rather quickly. The mascot announced that they're going to have 1 hour to write the number of the people that they're interested in. The number of the people is associated with the name tag that everyone has on their chest. As Yuzuki opens his card, there were 10 blank spaces, and they were supposed to write the number of the person that they are most interested in. As everyone looked around for a minute, they asked if this game is it, and if they'll actually land a match after this. As the mascot goes crazy, everyone started to look around each other, trying to find their partners. Girls started to surround men that they were interested in, and men, on the other hand, surrounded women. It was a chaos. A lot of girls were surrounding Reggie, a lawyer with an absolutely awesome personality and charm, and he was charismatic to them. As everyone was blown away by him, on the other hand, Yuzuki's friend himself actually ended up finding one of the persons that he was interested in. As he decided to muster up the courage to go and talk to her, he dashes and he started to basically do his thing, complimenting and trying to level up his game. But Yuki on the other hand smiles and tells Yuzuki's friend that she wouldn't mind if both of them become partners. Now, seeing this, Yuzuki was kind of blown away. He was thinking that maybe someone like him can also have a chance. Now he glares back to the one person who has absolutely been living in his mind rent-free. As he decided to overcome his trauma and move on from his past relationship, he was about to call out to the girl that he met earlier, but she, on the other hand, completely ignores him like he's some sort of nuisance. The girl approaches the surrounded Reggie guy, and she smiles at him and asks if both of them can talk to each other for a minute. As Yuzuki saw this, he just couldn't help but see the absolutely charismatic and dazzling figure for her, and he cried that all high-end women, in the end, choose a guy that is closer to their status. Yuzuki started to ask everyone around him, and as he approached several partners, almost every one of them was just refusing and ditching him in the end, and he was always getting outcompeted by more and more contestants. As he cried, a mascot was bringing some pasta over to the tables, and as the mascot kind of slipped, Yuzuki, on the other hand, decided to intervene. As he was about to make contact with the delicious pasta, they crashed and it ended up causing a loud sound that startled everyone around them, and all pasta sauce and juices falls on our poor main protagonist. As he looked on his suit, it was completely covered with pasta. As the mascot started to apologize, everyone started to look over to him as if he's some sort of a lost cause. From the back, Yamamoto intervenes, and as Yuzuki screams at him to go away, Yamamoto cried on how he's worried. With a loud voice, he shouts and shares to everyone that his friend Yuzuki is extremely clumsy, and that's what makes him cute. As he started to shout this over and over again, people around both Yuzuki and Yamamoto notice what they are doing. Yamamoto, on the other hand, decided to become this overly brotherly dude who's helping a fellow comrade. But then we actually see the real face of this trash. He pulls over Yuzuki and he mocks him on how he has no experience with anyone, and still he's here doing his pathetic things. Basically, he made him feel as if he is a lowlife. As Yuzuki just decided to clench his hand, he was feeling miserable. From the side, a girl approaches and asks if he was okay. As a kind lady approaches Yuzuki, on the other hand ends up blinking wondering if this is real, and she hands him a handkerchief and added that if he doesn't mind, he can use this. Yuzuki just makes this creepy face, and as both of them smiled at each other for a minute, Yuzuki stops thinking, and he even goes out to getting blushed and sweaty because of this interaction. As she lowers her head, she smiles at him, and they both talk for a while. Yuzuki was sure that, although his dating life has been terrible and his love experience is zero, he might have found the person that he was looking for. She herself was really kind. She made comments about him that really genuinely made him seem like a better human, just like everyone. As she also complimented on how he helped the Tomato Man, the girl leans over to him one more time, and she tells him that she'll be extremely happy if both of them would move on forward with each other. As they were talking from the back, Yamamoto was obviously looking at them. Now came the time to write their choices. As Yuzuki sat down, his list was extremely simple. He had 2 women who he was extremely interested in and he started to write. But for around 9 times, he wrote the number of the top person that he was interested in, and that was the black-haired girl from earlier. And on the very top, he wrote the number of the new person that he just encountered, Mamazono. As the time came to a stop, it was finally time for the couples to get introduced. As the mascot announced a successful couple, in the very next second, they returned to the main stage as the first couple of the season. As poor Yuzuki's eyes widened seeing this, Yamamoto came to the stage holding Mamazono super close, and just seeing this he was broken once again, as the trash came to the stage holding the girl with glasses that Yuzuki was attracted to. We learn that Yamamoto deliberately stole Yuzuki's partner once again to break Yuzuki completely. Yamamoto earlier was looking at Yuzuki and Mamazono, and this triggered him to steal his partner again, and as both of them were smiling at each other on the stage, Yuzuki, on the other hand, just stood there in void and emptiness. From the side, another couple was introduced, and it was Ari and Reggie. From the side, back to back, as Ari flexes her extremely slender waist, and her hair, Yuzuki just kept looking from the outside. Even his friend, Tasashi, came onto the stage with his new partner. As both of them were extremely happy, Yuzuki, on the other hand, was starting to feel this pain, this pure darkness that was dwelling in his heart, and he was feeling as if he's not chosen from the start. As he looked in front of him, while everyone was enjoying, the mascot started to say other stuff, but as the trash Yamamoto grabbed Mamazono in a disgusting way, he decided to play his new trick, and he smiled and basically mocked Yuzuki, telling him that he got another one that he was interested in. It turns out that Yamamoto was just this trash who was really doing this intentionally. As he started to groom Mamazono, Yuzuki thought to himself that maybe he should really beat this guy. But as the mascot kept saying something, in the very next second, the infamous trash was smiling with his creepy face and his weird hairstyle, but his heart, where his name tag was, had this wide gap, and his entire flesh and his heart was completely destroyed, leaving nothing but an empty space. As Yuzuki saw this, blood started to gush out from his wound, and as his lifeless, disgusting body fell onto Mamazono, she pushed Yamamoto quickly. As his body dropped on the floor, Mamazono immediately stretches her hand out to Yuzuki, screaming that he needs to help her, but in the very next second, she suffers the same fate, and a loud explosion completely drills a hole in her chest. As everyone started to panic, loud explosive sounds kept circling around the hall. As Yuzuki quickly decided to check on his friend, he looked to his side only to see that his friend was holding his chest hard. When he looked closely, his best friend who helped him through all his terrible time was standing there, and he himself had a hole in his heart. As his lifeless body was about to fall, Yuzuki quickly grabbed him, and as he started to call to him, his friend was already lifeless. As Yuzuki screamed, dozens and dozens of people were starting to experience the same fate, from pretty women to men of all type. The pretty mascot and the friendly environment that this reality show was creating suddenly turns grim. The mascot tells everyone that their screams have such sad reality to their lives, and the mascot tells everyone that love is the survival of the fittest, and their screams have a beautiful sound. As people started to cry, they realized that this was not a game, but the mascot was happy, and he tells the contestants that these explosions are like fireworks, and he tells everyone that the people who are dying are losers of the love battle. But they screamed that the couples were made and how they are eliminated. The mascot tells everyone that everything is based on the clearing condition. Basically, in order for them to be alive, they were supposed to have points. The ranking system was simple. If a person is in high demand, and a lot of people wouldn't mind being matched with someone, their point increases. As Yuzuki sees his number, he realized that he has 100 points, but he questioned how he actually got that since he didn't even do anything. As Reggie saw him from the side, the mascot started to explain everything. The reason people had died was that their ranking system was messed up. It was messed up since Yuzuki's friend was really interested in Yuki. Yuki, on the other hand, was considering Yuzuki's friend as her backup. For Yuki, Yuzuki's friend, Goda, was a sixth option, but for Goda, Yuki was the highest priority. So their matching card was extremely off, and that caused their entire love matching to be a total bust since both of them had different feelings for each other. As he explained all of this, the mascot kept going on how a couple cannot have different feelings for each other. Sadly, what was more important was that Yuzuki's friend, Goda, was actually not chosen by a single person other than Yuki, and Yuki, on the other hand, was widely acceptable by some people. As poor Yuzuki started to stutter with his words, he looks up to Yuki and he screams that if only she had placed his friend a few points higher. As she herself started to tear up, the mascot tells Yuzuki that in this thing, the most important thing was to leave an impression on people, even if it's the slightest one or even the most uncool one. The main method to win this game was to become a topic that everyone would see and think about. Yuzuki actually had an embarrassing accident happen to him which caused a lot of attention, and since a lot of people saw him being clumsy and kind of cute, he was on a matching card of several people, which caused his ranking to go up. But both Yuzuki's friend and Yamamoto, the three of them were all talking to one person and they met this random partner, and they had thought that they had found a person that they loved. Basically, the entire infrastructure of this game was based on ranking. The couples were randomly chosen, and if a successful couple were to be made, then both parties should have the correct matching for the other partner. The mascot also adds on how a lot of people had written many different people's names, and it added on how it's almost impossible for a normal human to find their partners in just 1 hour of talking. So, it advised that people were to write only one person's name over and over again. The mascot adds on how this game is over. Yuzuki, on the other hand, starts to tear up, adding that he doesn't understand why a trash like him had survived this game. As he started to debate about some stuff, he and the mascot started to engage in a furious conversation. As Yuzuki started to raise his voice, the mascot asks if he doesn't like the game, then he can have an instant explosion and die right here, just like his friend. As he started to tear up, he cried that he does not want to die and it's wrong for people to die just because they have failed a stupid game and have written the names of the wrong people that they were interested in. As he cried, he screamed asking why do they have to die. The mascot, on the other hand, tells everyone that love doesn't get picked up this early and all of them were just fooling around with each other. As the mascot breaks the stick that he had, it turns out that they are in a game that a messed up person had made and they're basically trying to kill 1,000 people in the most cruel way imaginable. A total of 800 people remained and more than 200 people were slaughtered in an instant with explosive hearts. As the mascot gives them a cheer, Yuzuki is so distraught and broken that he wasn't even able to save his friend. Reggie joins in from the side and he adds on how Yuzuki's act is extremely good. As Yuzuki looked to his side, he asked what Reggie was talking about. Reggie closes in and as he patted the angry Yuzuki, Reggie tells him that he knows what tricks he was playing. Reggie tells him again that he figured it out that Yuzuki deliberately spilled the food on himself to stand out. As he leaves, he tells him that his strategy worked and he survived. When we actually see the terrifying and serious expression of Yuzuki, it turned out that indeed he had done everything in a proper plan. As he stands there without any grief or any problem, he calculated something that was not possible for normal individuals. As he clenched his fist, he started to comfort himself that there was a reason for why he had done it, and he started to just tell himself that he's a normal person over and over again. But now he realized that he's in a game that he wasn't supposed to be in, and now he has to continue. The mascot quickly shouts that the next game is about to start. Now, both Reggie and Yuzuki kind of looked at the dead bodies. Reggie becomes a rival of Yuzuki and he tells him that he seems extremely trustworthy. He adds that Yuzuki's ability to make decisions for his own benefit can really help him in pinch points. On the other hand, the mascot was standing near a girl, and the poor girl starts to tear up and she kneeled down screaming that she would like to withdraw from the game now. As everyone saw this, the mascot asks why she would want that. She, on the other hand, starts to weep, adding that she was here to look for her husband, and she basically needed a lot of help for her sick mother. She added that her mother was a single parent and now she unfortunately got diagnosed with terminal cancer. As she cried, she added that it's her mother's last wish to see her daughter in a wedding dress. As she lowered her head even more, she cried that she would like to decline this game and just like to withdraw. The mascot starts to tear up, adding on how the tears from the child and parent love are so fresh and so difficult to ignore. As the mascot started to add a few other things, It seemed like the mascot was about to help her for some sort of reason. But in the very next second, the girl's heart shoots up one more time, and as her dead body drops to the ground, the mascot exclaims that now the girl can be with her mother in heaven. As the mascot asked if anyone else is interested, it seemed like no one in their right mind can actively leave this place without dying for nothing. From the side, Ari confidently adds that they have no other choice but to participate. As both Reggie and Ari confirm one more time, their next game is about to start. As more and more mascots entered, they started to drag away the dead bodies. The mascot exclaims that their first official game is now going to start, and it's going to be Love Q&A. Basically, they will be given some dating-related questions, and a few contestants would need to climb on the stage and answer from two options, either A or B. If the answer is wrong, then the person unfortunately discovers heaven. As everyone heard the mascot explain the things, it was the turn for the first group to go up. Everything tensed up. The condition was only for the people to choose the correct answer. The game was pretty easy, almost like a quiz, and the only problem was whether the questions were going to be extremely difficult. But when the first question rolled in, everyone was surprised, and the question was asked who pays on a date on the first date. This was simple rookie question that everyone has their own opinion on. As everyone kind of panicked, they thought that if quizzes like these are going to be asked over and over, then surely they're going to win. As the 10 people on the stage gave their answer, around 6 of them had a different opinion, and 4 of them had their own opinions. Around 6 people decided that the bill should be split, and 4 of them marked that a man should always pay for the tab. As the results came in, the mascot hyped up the evening and immediately he added that the 4 contestants who chose the answer that a man should pay for the meal are eliminated. As everyone heard this, one of the girls comes up all dolled up, adding on how she's a princess and she has never even taken her wallet out on a date. She considered girls to be princesses and any decent guy would pay for her. Basically, she started to go on this rant on how her logic is universal. As she completely gets sliced from top to bottom, she splits like a banana, and all the others as well split like bananas. As poor Ari and Yuzuki's eyes widened, all 4 people were slaughtered and basically turned into tacos, making this an absolutely deafening sight. Yuzuki just went into shock, asking himself over and over again if there's some sort of rule or if there is a pattern to answer this question, because it's a broad answer which is mostly based on a personal opinion. As one of the guys added on how this could be a majority rule, he started to give his own theory. As the second question rolled in, the black-haired man started to become this overly confident dude, and he started to list his own idea. As he asked the people on the other side to cooperate, they decided on a single answer. As he did his own thing over and over again, it turned out that the next question's answer was completely wrong, and that man as well was split into a sliced banana. As things started to get even more dark, Yuzuki ended up asking Ari what the correct answer was, and she basically had her own theory, and nothing was making sense at this point. But Reggie from the back gets everyone's attention and he tells everyone that they need a strategy to really make it through this game. He tells everyone that maybe they can rely on a majority voting system. Basically, he lets them know that they need to form 2 groups on who agrees with what and who disagrees. Basically, he comes up with this strategy that maybe they need to divide into groups and then form a better answer and then roll out a majority vote at the same time. As the third question rolled in, everything started to make sense. In the next question, 10 people cleared simultaneously, and all of them had the same answer. Everyone started to praise Reggie, telling them that he can really do this. As Yuzuki saw the entire ranking system, Reggie was top number 1 with more than 2,900 points. As one of the girls clings up to him, he was really this superstar of this game. Still, Reggie's new strategy was not making so much sense to Yuzuki. As the next question came in, the girl who was overly clinging to Reggie had to go up the stage. She starts to get Reggie on her side, and as he wishes her well, Yuzuki was sure that there is more to this. The next question came in, and since there was a high chance of winning in this game, thanks to Reggie's new strategies, everyone was kind of confident. As the reality actually hits them all, the new girl that who just joined ended up giving the wrong answer despite using Reggie's strategy, and as she screamed on how this is unfair and how she didn't even have the time to process this, in the very next second she was sliced in half as well, proving the fact that Reggie might not have actually been so accurate. Since Reggie's strategy was to have everyone choose the same option, Reggie was responsible for more than 10 kills in a single row. Now, seeing this, everyone started to scream on top of their lungs, and Yuzuki started to ask maybe there is a specific pattern to this. As the next question rolled in, the mascot was giving absolutely no break to anyone and it poured question after question. As Ari started to analyze the question, another dude steps in and he grabs Reggie's collar and he screams at him, adding on how he did such an irresponsible thing so openly. As the guy started to let out his own frustration on Reggie at this particular time, Reggie's strategy, even though it has been proven wrong for once, still holds a high win ratio. As Yuzuki started to intervene, he basically tells everyone that they need to keep up the pace, and even though there was panic and confusion in the crowd, the game kept continuing as the mascot was bringing in 10 people in a row. As people gave their own answers, there was absolutely nothing that could be helpful to anyone. As more and more groups came, more and more people started to get slaughtered slowly. Although there were few clues here and there was a big hint given by the mascot that there is a normal person or an average person in this one. As Reggie tells Yuzuki to believe in him, Reggie kept pushing on this idea that both Yuzuki and him need to work together in this one. Many other people saw how well Reggie and Yuzuki were getting close to each other. As one of the guys with glasses started to become overly attached in the very next game, he was also slaughtered. All the hopes and all the strategies that Reggie was coming up with kept failing, and now was the time for both Yuzuki and Ari to step on the stage. As Yuzuki saw the gruesome sight of the bodies laying on the floor, he started to sweat aggressively. From the side, Ari gears up and she tells him that they must go on. Yuzuki, being all frustrated, asks if Ari is even scared of what is going on. When he saw her face, he noticed that she was sweating a lot, and not only that, she was panicking deep inside, but still was fighting. As she tells him that she's going to fight until the end, he reminds himself that he must man up as well. As he stands near the counter where he's supposed to cast his vote, and there he sees an eyeball of a human, and as he saw the blood right next to it, he began trembling and was struggling to keep himself together. As the mascot asks a rather uncomfortable question about how many people they have slept with, both of them started to just open their eyes wide open. Both Yuzuki's and Ari's life was on the line, and Yuzuki was working his brain overtime, thinking of what's the missing clue and everything that he missed. He started to analyze every single thing that he can find, and he quickly saw the ranking board and he wondered what his rank is. He saw that on the ranking board there was something extremely weird and an Apple logo was there. Seeing this, he realized something that no one else was noticing, and he quickly looks to his side towards Ari and he basically asks her the same question the mascot was asking everyone. In the middle of this intense question series, our main protagonist, Yuzuki, just completely shifts his worries and attention to Ari, and he asks the same question that the mascot had asked everyone, and he basically wanted to know her answer. She, on the other hand, just kind of flinches, and he starts to really ask her in a more profound and aggressive tone. For a minute kind of makes this troubled expression, and everyone around Reggie as well noticed that Yuzuki has been acting up. But Yuzuki was actually pretty desperate, and he screamed that she needed to tell this no matter what. As she got fed up with his constant request, she screamed that she has no experience. As she said this in a loud tone, for a minute Yuzuki actually felt extremely terrible. But in the very next second, everyone answered 0, and the mascot congratulates everyone that the question 13 has been answered and everyone cleared. Taking this chance, Yuzuki walks up to the stage with confidence, and he tells everyone the method to clear this stage. He points to the ranking board and he tells that there is an apple displayed in the middle, and Ari's name is on the top. He starts to explain on how the mascot was earlier referring to a normal or average human. So basically, the mascot was referring that the person who has his or her name on top of the apple is the main character on which the questions are going to be asked on. So every question that was asked earlier was related to the opinion, the experience, and the personal choice of Ari. He starts to explain on how this is specifically meant to trick everyone, and he screamed that if they all want to pass this game, then whatever question the mascot asks everyone, they just need to confirm it with Ari, and whatever her answer is, it'll be the correct choice. In conclusion, the mascot was asking everyone the question that specifically Ari was supposed to answer. As everyone started to notice this pattern, they kept showering her with questions, and as the question grew more and more mature and even disturbing, she answered over and over again. Just like this, all 77 questions were answered and there were no casualties after this, and everyone celebrated. As Yuzuki himself teared up, Reggie quickly went up to Yuzuki and he thanked him. Seeing this, Yuzuki noticed Ari, and then he apologized on how he made her extremely uncomfortable. She, on the other hand, smiles and tells him that thanks to him, hundreds of people who didn't get holes drilled in their chests. However, as she said this, she collapsed in his arms. She seemed extremely exhausted, but in the very next second, a mysterious gas surrounds the entire hall, sending people to the ground. It was a strong sleeping gas, and as people started to fall unconscious, the mascots were starting to pile the dead bodies of the people over and over again, and it started to make this mountain of blood and flesh. As Yuzuki's friend's body was also there, he quickly screamed out his name, but his friend's body was quickly buried under even more bodies. As the mascot started to say his stupid things, Yuzuki, on the other hand, was devastated to see that his friend, who was with him all his life, was getting buried under dead bodies. As he saw the most gruesome scene that he can imagine, the mascots were lining up the bodies as if they're creating a twin tower. Yuzuki asked the mascot on why are they doing this, and why are they going this way for just a stupid reality show, but obviously, the mascot was not messing around, and it added that this is a second season of the popular show Eden of the Fate. Whoever wins the show is obviously going to live and win a life-changing amount of money that can last them generations. Yuzuki screams that humans are not toys they can experiment with. But the mascot obviously was not taking any insults and it fired back, adding on how Yuzuki can do absolutely nothing but watch and play. As tears started to overflow, he tells the mascot that he's going to survive no matter what and he'll see the end of it. As the mascot joked on him, Yuzuki was not kidding, and the mascot tells him that he's risking everyone's life. But Yuzuki screams at him that now he's going to risk his own life, and with his life, he's going to crush him. As the smoke got more intense, their fight came to an end, and Yuzuki falls onto Ari. The mascot, on the other hand, screams on top of its lungs on how he's going to climax extremely hard. As everyone heard the bigger mascot speak, he cried that everyone needs to entertain him more. The next game was going to be much more cruel and much more intense than ever. As Yuzuki awaited the trial to hell, now he needs to face both himself and the world. In a dream, Yuzuki ends up seeing a vision in which Reggie and Ari were together. As Ari mentioned on how men are better if they're handsome and men have a high income, Yuzuki started to get this déjà vu and terrible nightmare that he already experienced earlier. He wakes up only to find a woman with extremely long eyelashes and golden hair, and as she was wearing a rather uncomfortable outfit, a bunny girl was there. As Yuzuki's eyes widened, the girl jokes on how Yuzuki is actually much better than she had actually thought. As he screamed after getting assaulted, he asked who she is. She started to praise him on what type of man he really is, and she basically started to compliment him over and over again. He asked where he is, and when he looked around, he was in a luxurious room and he was resting. He gulped, and the girl started to explain everything to him. Although the new bunny girl was extremely pushy, she was not a bad character right from the start. She explains him how every one of them got their own rooms. She also shared that she woke up from her place but came here to check him out, and as she realized that Yuzuki still doesn't know, she grabs his hand and she leads him to a sitting area in which 4 other people were sitting around. As Yuzuki saw all of them, his eyes widened for a minute, and immediately from the side, the screen started to run, and the same mascot appears, introducing himself again, and asking if anyone is in love already. As their next game started to come and roll, the mascot introduced that all 6 of them had woken up and gathered into the living room. Although everyone is a stranger, they should not be surprised because now basically they're supposed to go on a group date and clear the next stage. As the shutter from the side opens, the mascot introduced the next game is going to be an amusement park date. As the bunny girl exclaimed on how this was a dream, she looked at the absolute enormous size of the Ferris wheel. The mascot kept going on and on about the romance reality show and all the criteria of the show. At first, the goal was to verify if the contestants are worthy of the show, and now the show will really begin. Now the contestants will fall in love with each other. As one of the men asked what's the upside, and as he asked if their entire show is being broadcasted to some messed up individuals. He asked the question that was on top of everyone's mind, and Yuzuki also was eager to find the one who had planned all of this. As Yuzuki himself knew how important this is, immediately the table brings out a fancy-looking tea set, and the mascot tells them to shut up and just drink the tea to calm themselves. The mascot wanted to push them into the next game that he had planned. Yuzuki started to analyze what this game really is going to be about, and deep down, he considered that if he's going to an amusement park, then he can find a way to escape from there. As he thought about this, immediately the mascot added that the ship is now sailing and is currently in the middle of the ocean. Hearing this, all hope that Yuzuki had was gone because now he has nowhere to escape. As he started to become more worried, there is no other choice but to participate in the game. The mascot pushed the idea that now everyone needed to introduce themselves. The mascot added that now their clothes are also going to be changed by the show's own preference, and he just basically encouraged everyone to fall in love despite everything. The bunny girl explained how her clothes are not changed. Everyone at first had thought that maybe she's an actor or something, but the girl introduces herself. She's the popular cutie bunny. She's also 24 and she works in the adult industry. On the other hand, Masaru is a furniture import company CEO, extremely established and rich. Beauty influencer Yumi, on the other hand, was just more attracted to the CEO. Then there was a 19-year-old student, and Yuzuki being the other one. As one of the men approaches Yuzuki, he clenches his hand and he thanks him for the previous game. The other dude cries on how he saved everyone in the Love Q&A game. As everyone recognized, they thanked him for his intelligent move. As the CEO pats Yuzuki's shoulder, he acknowledges that he's looking forward to his talented persona, and he tells him that he's excited to see Yuzuki in action once again. As Yuzuki started to feel more motivated, Bunny Girl smiles and tells him that they are with him and he can rest assured and work together. As the CEO actually really created this warm atmosphere around everyone, Yuzuki was happy, and now came the real challenge. They needed to participate and figure out how to win. As they saw the absolutely magnificent scale of this amusement park, they just kept looking around, and there were dozens of rides and everything was going too fast. But one of the girls added that the clouds are actually projections, and they're not real. This indicates that they are in an extremely big space, and a lot of things that they are seeing are just projections. As one of the girls adds on how they're basically like a cage in a prison, Yuzuki couldn't help but agree. From the side, a handsome and breathtaking banana man entered, and he screams to everyone that he's the general head and manager of this place. He explains the entire roadmap of this park. He also showed them more and more themes and things that they can do. Yuzuki pointed at strange heart icons among every single thing, and he asked what this is. The banana man tells them that in order for them to win this game, the group of 6 people need to collect around 5 hearts, just 5 hearts, in 3 days to clear the game. The time limit is 3 hours per day, which is basically around 9 hours that they need to work to gather 5 hearts. The banana man tells them to choose as many games as they can. The CEO from the side added on how this is kind of fishy, and he breaks the ice, telling everyone that if they decide to play this game slowly, then the risk is much less as compared to them trying to take on bigger wins, which will likely come with more risk. As the beauty influencer started to get all cuddly with the CEO, it was their time to participate. As one of them agreed that they needed to decide a game that's extremely fit for them, the CEO stepped in as a leader. He basically came up with this idea that they first need to pick a game which has 1 heart in it and which would likely be much easier for them to do. He started to overtake this entire group, deciding what to do as a group. As he approached Yuzuki, he also calmed everyone down and he told Yuzuki specifically that even though his actions in the previous games were good, he tells Yuzuki that he wants to see that miracle one more time, and he added him that whatever he did was a fluke and was a big miracle. Hearing these words, the CEO became this great man of great wisdom, and he tells everyone that if they want to win this game, then their first attempt should be the fierce round wheel from hell. As they went to the line, they quickly made a list, and in there Yuzuki saw Ari, and as he was about to talk to her, he noticed that it was not Ari but a different girl. As they were about to enter, Yuzuki was extremely interested in Ari, and he wondered if he will ever get to see her. The orange man from the side tells everyone who was about to participate to bring out their left hand. As they did, a terrifying face emerges, and a token was inside. As one of the guys checked inside, their status quickly changed to display that their first love in Eden is complete, and their entry is ready. As they were about to sit into one of the cubes, in the very next second, he saw a girl coming down. As he kept staring, a loud splash sound completely startles him, and he looks up. Dozens and dozens of people were falling, and as they dropped to the ground with extremely creepy and loud thuds, blood started to cover the entire ground. As they sat in the cabin, the great CEO started to panic as he had no idea what type of game this is. As they sat down, their game started, and now last 20 minutes of their lives started. They need to solve something and do a certain action to make it out alive. As the timer started, all 6 of them were extremely terrified as they saw what was starting to happen, and they quickly moved up. From the side, a small decorative snake piece threw out a small scroll, and when Yuzuki checked, it was a great puzzle. This puzzle was extremely confusing, as it wanted the 6 of them to look around at spinning circles and hot air balloons and stuff like that. As everyone gathered around, Yuzuki begged for hints from their current situation to be able to accurately solve this. As the timing gave him fear, he still didn't know what to follow and what to do. As he made sure to remember that this is an amusement park and this puzzle is regarding this, he thought to himself that maybe the Ferris wheel is the main element behind solving this puzzle. But as he was thinking, the bunny girl sticks close to him, and she tells him that he can do it, and she remarks on he needs to force an answer out right now. Everyone started to cheer him up, telling him that he can do it. As she pushed herself onto him even more, from the side, the great genius of the business world tells them that he knows what this is all about. He looks at everyone. He tells them that this is from Shakespeare's literature. As he said this, the great genius basically figured everything out, and he starts to add on how this is a fairy forest fantasies type stuff that is beyond the understanding of a normal human being. He gave a rant about this beautiful story that he somehow remembered, and as he tells them that this is all connected to Shakespeare, he became Einstein himself. Using his peanut-sized brain, he connected the dots, and he pulled out the park map, and he tells them all that the puzzle is indicating them to look at the park map. Now, as they look at the park map, everyone was kind of impressed by it, and on top of everything, whatever the great CEO was saying was also on the park map, as it had Romeo and Juliet on it as well. They were pretty convinced that he's talking about something that's actually making sense. He added on how the names of the places that are written on the map are all historic characters, and they had their own genders. As everyone piled up around him, he suddenly became this generational mastermind who was about to solve everything thanks to his deep understanding of Shakespeare. As Yumi, the clingy parasite, started to praise him, he basically told her that yes, he is the top person, and everyone in the entire cabinet started to cheer that this is it, they have found the hidden answer. But obviously, Yuzuki was looking at those innocent souls, and he was so sure that this is not just a normal game that is based on Romeo and Juliet or Shakespeare's unknown literature. He knew that there's a possibility that it's more twisted and more malicious than that. From the side, the annoying CEO asks Yuzuki if there's something wrong and if there is a reason he's looking down. As he added on how there is surely something fishy about this game, the CEO quickly fires back, asking what he's talking about. As Yuzuki started to explain his feelings and how there is surely something unexpected in this, immediately the clingy parasite Yumi turns into this devilish teacher, and she tells him that young people like him don't know anything, and she asked if Yuzuki is claiming that the CEO is wrong. She started to just become this over-aggressive person. From the back, Bunny Girl tells Yumi to control herself, and the CEO starts to give this legendary speech on how his last performance was pretty good, and he pats Yuzuki's shoulder and he tells him that he doesn't need to force himself to solve such difficult puzzles. As he takes out the puzzle paper from Yuzuki's hand, the annoying Bunny Girl slaps Yuzuki's head, and she screams on how he was just showing off. As the time was ticking more and more, everyone started to look at the great CEO, and they were thinking that maybe he's about to solve everything. But Yuzuki was still assured that there is some missing key that's going to determine life and death for everyone. But Yumi, the ugly trash, was not happy. As Yuzuki started to ask for any support, everyone was just ignoring him since they were under immense pressure, and favoritism was on. Quickly, Yuzuki saw that almost all 5 of them had formed this great group, leaving Yuzuki alone once again. Now, although the great CEO was doing his best, he's a charismatic man, and his intelligence was that of a small bug. Slowly, he started to remind himself that if he takes small steps and makes small progress by the end of the time, he's going to solve this great Shakespeare's puzzle. Everyone around them were already really comfortable with his entire persona. From the side, one of the girls muttered about the goddess of love, and as both of them talk, they looked down and noticed a unique marking. Seeing this marking, the girl started to add her theory on this, and as she makes a few symbols of the planetary system, there were a total of 10 of it, and she started to add on how the goddess of love, Venus, and she started to list a unique perspective on planets that could be related to this puzzle. As Yuzuki's eyes widened, he muttered to himself that maybe his clues are connected and he has found something that's going to be really important. On the other hand, the greatest genius of all time, the monster calculator, the Albert Einstein's father himself, was having a hard time figuring out the rest of the thing. Their cabin was getting visitors, and as one of the dead bodies slammed onto the window, the girl with an absolutely terrifying face cries to all the 6 people for help, and as she was slowly sliding down, she fell. Quickly, all of the contestants inside the cabinet started to scream on top of their lungs that they don't want to die. As the chubby guy in the group pointed his finger on top, there was a cabinet from which a man was being pushed out, and as that man was brutally betrayed, he fell to his death. The bunny girl noticed that people were pushing each other out of the cabinet, and seeing this, Yumi starts to get frustrated as she screams on how there's 10 minutes left. As chaos started to erupt, the genius, on the other hand, was getting all sweaty because he had absolutely no idea what he was talking about, nor Shakespeare was helping him in this. As Yuzuki approached the CEO, reminding him on how maybe he has found something of value, the great CEO of Toyland quickly interrupts him that right now he's thinking, and he doesn't need to be interrupted. He screams that he's full of this mood swing, and his calm and collective personality quickly changes into something worse, and he just basically started to scream at everyone. Yumi intervened and she tells Yuzuki to shut up. As he kind of got spooked out and was left alone, things were starting to turn really sour. From the side, the bunny girl noticed that there are other markings on the floor, and as the CEO noticed this as well, he again started to align them with Shakespeare. He basically combined everything using his peanut-sized brain, and he figured that connecting this is going to be their answer. As he started to point more and more fingers, he basically got a full answer, and it all came down to one word: wait. As he started to look into this over and over again, and he realized something really crucial, and as Yuzuki questioned this, the CEO started talking about how he had figured out this entire game. He basically tells them that it's an action to clear the game. As he pointed his finger outside, where there were people falling to their death, he tells them that they need to sacrifice a human soul, and they need to connect the dots quickly. He added that these Ferris wheel cabins have a limit of human weight, and as he opened the door, he tells everyone that there are too many in a single cabinet. As he opened the door, he screams that what they need to do right now is drop a human life to survive. As the greatest genius discovered this magnificent and groundbreaking discovery, Yuzuki confronted him, and the CEO lets out this devilish smile, and he tells Yuzuki that if he follows his way, then surely they are going to survive this no matter what. Yuzuki, on the other hand, kept considering the words, and he knew that this is not the correct thing. As the bunny girl screamed on how this is basically murder in a plain tone, the great genius became this great elder of wisdom, and he started to shut her up. He tells the bunny girl that this is just a noble sacrifice, and if one's life would be gone, then all 5 of them would live, and they would remember the sacrifice that the other party would do. He points out to the kind, chubby dude from the group, and he screams that since that man is the heaviest, he needs to fall first. As his eyes widened with fear, the great CEO actually started to grab people, and he was ready to shove them out of the cabinet. Yuzuki, who noticed that the people who were pushed out had still not cleared the game, intervened, and he screamed to the CEO that this is not the right method. He screamed that even though they throw out the people, it's still not guaranteed that they're going to clear the game, and the murder would continue. This is basically just a wrong conclusion that he had come up with. After hearing this, the CEO's tone just changed, and he becomes this absolute devil, and he muttered to himself that if Yuzuki noticed this, then maybe one sacrifice is not enough, and he starts to wonder if they need to throw in 2. The great CEO quickly points his finger to the bunny girl, and he tells her that maybe she can do the job. As the bunny girl screamed on how this is messed up, she fired back at the CEO, and added on how he himself is extremely heavy and maybe he should fall. But he quickly pulls out the paper and he shows her about how it's a unique gender sequence, and this is all according to what the paper had written. According to this, the correct gender needs to line up and fall. As he reminded her that after a man, a female needs to die, he was basically putting his finger right near her and telling her to jump, because that's going to save the rest of them. He even started to say a few things to Yumi, and since Yumi was pretty sticky to him all the way, she screamed that she doesn't want to die. As chaos erupted one more time, Yumi started to put good words about herself into the CEO's ear. Hearing this, the bunny girl realized that maybe he is serious and he's about to throw both the chubby man and her outside the Ferris wheel. The bunny girl actually became furious, and she grabbed the great CEO, and she tells him that maybe he should fall down first. In the very next second, he slaps her and he tells her that because of him, everyone is going to be safe and he deserves to live. As the poor girl starts to tear up, everyone starts to complain about the violence, and the Yumi trash herself started to grab the bunny girl's hair. A fight quickly erupts. As everything was going on and nothing was making sense, and everyone was coming up with their own solution, all because the great CEO wasn't able to handle a single thing and he just made everything up, wasting everyone's time. As the time ran down, there were only 6 minutes left. Yuzuki knew that this is crucial, and every second now is priceless. As Yuzuki was about to stop the trash CEO, the CEO ends up pushing Yuzuki outside the cabinet, and seeing this the bunny girl quickly intervenes, grabbing his leg right of Yuzuki in just few seconds. As she started to scream on how he's an idiot, the greatest assisting man also joins in, and he grabs onto his leg. Basically, the whole group joined in to help Yuzuki. He started to tear up. He was upside down, and he immediately, instead of thanking anyone, he freezes for a minute and he looks down at something. As they started to pull him up, Yuzuki tells them that it's fine. He needs to be like this for a minute. Yuzuki was in this intense zone where only he could talk to himself. He just looked at the settings down below. As all of them pull Yuzuki up, who was completely in this zone where they cannot question the man at all, they start to panic over and over again. As Yuzuki gets up, he screams. He tells everyone that the CEO's entire idea, plan, and endless talk was just a waste of time. As they start to question him, the CEO was not taking it lightly, and quickly Yuzuki points his finger and he tells everyone that it's all about space rather than some Shakespeare's old stories. He points out that everything is connected to space. As they analyzed more, he explained the complex situation on how the entire setting was placed. He also shared that the planets themselves are also referred to in a gender form. For example, the Earth is referred to as a female, while Mars is referred to as a male. He started to list every single thing about the rotation and the clear structure of the solar panel system. As Yuzuki started to debunk and break down this complex puzzle, the CEO was not taking it, and he started to scream over and over again about other stuff, and Yuzuki had an answer for almost every single thing. Since there was a little bit of calmness in this entire stuff, Yuzuki tells the CEO that rather than weight, it's all tied to gravity, which is the more correct way to solve this entire puzzle. As everyone started to brighten up, it seemed like everyone is going to be safe, and Yuzuki tells the CEO that there is no reason for anyone to lose their life. As the situation started to engulf, the CEO was extremely pissed, and he started to smash his fist, telling everyone that they are still young and they have no idea. He screams that throwing the heaviest person outside is the best choice that they have. As Yuzuki intervened one more time, the trash CEO punches him extremely hard, and he tells him that he's a brat and he doesn't know a single thing. He just goes on to this rant like a CEO. He tells everyone that everyone except him are just students, prostitutes, and just scum of the society who are not needed in this world. He screams to them that if they even want to be considered as a human, then they need to be useful to the society, and he just turned into this extremely low human who has no reason to be alive. As all of them get disgusted by this, the CEO was about to grab the bunny girl one more time, and he started to push, and as Yuzuki intervened, this time he had this smile on his face that was just majestic. It immediately startles the CEO, and he asked why Yuzuki was making this face. As he gets irritated, the CEO screams that he is the leader of the group and everyone needs to be quiet and obey him. Yuzuki just shows him his place and he questions what type of leader he's talking about. He adds that everyone from day one never believed in a thing like a leader and there was never a leader in the first place. He added that everyone here risked their life to be right here and they are grateful, and they are not controlled nor under any influence, and everyone is here to survive. He tells the CEO that everyone here can and has the ability to change their minds. As the CEO became desperate, he asked Yumi what she was on about, and she obviously started acting up like a maiden in love who is trying to make sense. The CEO was obviously aware of her tactic. Yuzuki addresses the old man face to face and tells him that now it's 5-1 and he can try to win against them. As the trash CEO realized this, he quickly started to revert back to his more logical and calm state. The boring-looking kid just turned into this demon in just a few minutes. As the time ticked, Yuzuki tells everyone that they need to be prepared because they're about to fall. As they got scared, they screamed that they're going to die because of the intense height that they're on, and they will definitely get squeezed. Yuzuki explained that this entire game was based on an apple falling from a tree, and this is directly connected to Newton's law of gravity. Obviously, no one was ready for the entire backstory that he had collected. Now, the only thing that remained is to look for the correct way to answer this puzzle. As Yuzuki looked around, he noticed a mirror. Quickly, he shoved the CEO aside and he started to look into the only given mirror that there was. As he tried to move it, he was surprised that the answer was right under their nose, and as he pulled out a giant button, everyone was happy that they're about to progress. But the CEO obviously started to inflict fear in almost everyone, and he screamed that the solution that he just came up with was extremely rushed and there's a guarantee that they're going to die. But Yuzuki fired back that if they relied on the Shakespeare stories that he was talking about, then they're doomed. Everyone was more connected with the new theory that Yuzuki came up with, which made more sense, and in the first place, nobody even understood the CEO's unique perspective on his beloved Shakespeare. Yuzuki started to press more buttons. He does the impossible, and as everyone screamed, he pressed, but nothing happened. As the CEO was about to pee his pants, the button started to show something, and as Yuzuki checked, it was an equation that was given to them. This equation was at first sight perplexing, and Yuzuki needed to fill in 4 letters and complete the equation. As they started to think how to solve it, quickly the chubby guy from the side added that it's a Newton's gravitational constant, and if they can quickly solve it by using the correct formula. As he stated this, they were about to calculate a question which could also end up with some errors. The CEO actually started to make sense this time. He screamed that they don't have time to talk about formulas. They need to quickly figure out the correct answer. As the time ticked, only 1 minute remained. Yuzuki, on the other hand, started to think over and over again about how this could be the correct answer and how they can really make this worth their while. As Yuzuki in this moment was looking at the park map, everyone started to cry on top of their lungs, telling Yuzuki to do something. As there were only 28 seconds left, Yuzuki grabbed the button and he started to enter the 4-digit number. It was only 5 seconds left, and as the breath left almost everyone, outside we see that the Ferris wheel still attracted a lot of attention, and a lot of people were interested to know if anyone had made it out. As the orange, weird mascot lets everyone know that no one is able to clear it, in the very next second, a cabinet drops right near the orange mascot, scaring almost everyone. As the orange mascot complimented on how they were close to death, the orange man opens the door to see a hand, almost lifeless, and inside, almost all 6 of them were completely fine and just shaken up from the intense fall. Yuzuki and his party became the first group to clear the impossible Ferris wheel puzzle. They were celebrated by the mascots, and they were also given 1 heart. As everyone started to celebrate, the bunny girl starts to whimper, and crying to herself, she cried that she was extremely scared, and she cried that she's thankful. Seeing this, Yuzuki reached out for his handkerchief, but he noticed that there was nothing there, so as he comforted her in a more mature and manly way, he just called out her name. From the back, the CEO was frantic, and he asked the orange man on how they survived such a great drop. The orange man just lets him know that they were able to survive because upon impact, they had a great cushion that just saved them from getting smudged into the metal. The last question was basically connected to the cushion, and if Yuzuki didn't answer it correctly, then they would all have been dead. As Yuzuki started to debunk on how he was able to figure it out, he shows that the park map was the answer all in all. He points out that there were numbers all over the place, and he aligned them with the other sets of numbers that they were given. He pointed out the planetary symbols that were given from before. He reminds everyone that the order in which the puzzle was created and the gender lineup was given. He just decoded it and a 4-digit number was there. As everyone realized how close they were to the answer and how it could have never been picked up by a normal person, they started to scream on how it was so difficult, but he did it in such a short amount of time. From the side, the CEO himself starts to clap, saying that he is extremely smart and confident. The bunny girl screamed on how he's a hypocrite to engage in a fight, but Yumi stayed the same as always and started to add on how everyone was troubled at the moment and they couldn't do their best. Yuzuki, on the other hand, knew that he doesn't want any trouble. So as he tells them that everyone is a team, the CEO, obviously wanting to fit in, quickly joins in the conversation, and he apologized for all his weird behavior, and he said that he lost his composure. As he brings out his arm, he tells them that this all was supposed to be a teamwork project which he failed, and as he tells them that they need to work together again, Yuzuki knew that this piece of trash was just a 2-sided face demon. So, he just gives him a fist bump, and as both of them smiled, everyone marked on how he's so old-fashioned. As it was 12 o'clock, the game and the entire session ended, and the beautiful banana man from the side exclaimed to everyone that now they need to return back to the home. As Yuzuki and his team returned once again, Yuzuki outsmarted the entire game. As they were about to return, Yuzuki was kind of dizzy, and as he was about to fall, Chubby Guy grabs him from the side and he tells him that maybe he needs to rest. That evening, everyone relaxed and ate good food. Yuzuki, on the other hand, drops down on his bed. He cries that the bed is the best, and as he was about to close his eyes, he questioned himself about what is about to happen next. From the side, Yumi joins in with Yuzuki, and as she entered without any permission, she questioned if Yuzuki is awake, and as she saw that he's sleeping, she tells him that it doesn't look like he's going to wake up anytime soon. As she gets into her zone, she adds that Yuzuki is a pretty defenseless, cute animal. In the next part, as things get extremely scary, Yuzuki starts to get more and more of these women who become obsessive because of his extreme analytic skills, and as he reunites with Reggie and Ari, this time Yuzuki's talent and his mastermind is revealed at a much higher scale, and as everyone gets to see his skill, they're left in awe and surprise.